Okay, morning everyone. We will start by going through Wednesday's homework, which was on quadratic trinomials. Okay, so I'm just going to go down here. So it says copy and complete the brackets to factorize p squared plus 4p plus 3. So I'm just going to pretend like the brackets aren't there and I'm just going to factorize it separately. And hopefully the answers match. So p squared plus 4p plus 3. Right. So it has three terms. It has a squared, a regular letter, and a constant term. So it's definitely a trinomial, which means we use the guide number. We get the guide number by using the number here in front of p. When there is no number in front of p, we put in a 1. And we also use the constant number at the end. So we multiply both of those together, 1 by 3, and we get a guide number of 3. We then do the factors of 3. There's only one factor pair of 3. It's 1 times 3, so it has to work, but we'll have a look at it anyway. So we're trying to use 3 and 1 to make 4. That's doable. If you make it a plus 1 and a plus 3. 1 plus 3 makes 4. Okay, so then we go back to our equation, or sorry, it's an expression at this stage because there's no equals. So we go back to our expression and we write it as a 4-term expression. So we leave the p squared alone. We're going to split this up using this. So my 4p becomes 1p and 3p, and then the 3 at the end. I then split it into 2 groups. First 2 and the second 2. Okay, so common factor in the first one is 1p, and then I open up my bracket and I divide both of these by the common factor. Okay, so 1 divided by 1 is 1, you don't have to write it. P squared divided by p, so this will cancel with one of these, leaving just 1 behind. Here the p's cancel and 1 divided by 1 is 1. Okay, common in the red bracket is 3, and then we're going to divide by 3, divide by 3. So 3 divided by 3, they'll cancel, leaving you with p, and 3 divided by 3 is 1. Okay, so we have to check if the brackets match. Okay, so this 1 we don't have to write, or the other way you could look at it is that this p over here has an invisible 1 in front of it, so those brackets do match. So once they match, you write down the matching bracket, and then you write down the factors in another bracket. So 1p or just p plus 3. Okay, if we go back to the question, they told us that p plus 1 here. Oh, what did I just do? Let's undo that. They told us that p plus 1 was going to be one of the factors, and that's what I got. So we were trying to find the other one, and we did. P plus 3. Okay, so use your factors or otherwise to solve. So you'll notice now that we have our equals 0 because we've been asked to solve. So how do we solve? We split the page. There you go. And we take our p plus 1 and let it equal 0, and we take our p plus 3 and we let it equal 0. Then we solve, so this plus 1 needs a minus 1 to cancel it out, and a minus 1 for balance. So p equals 0 minus 1, which is just minus 1. On the other side, the plus 3 needs a minus 3 to cancel, and then a minus 3 on the far side to balance it out. So p equals minus 3. So that bit there is your answer to part B. Yeah. And then part C says verify your answers. So verify is where you sub them back in. So I have p squared plus 4p plus 3 equals 0. Put the minus 1 in first. Now you can just type all that into your calculator and get 0. It is 1 minus 4 plus 3, which is minus 3 plus 3 equals 0, which is true. Okay, but you can just check that on your calculator. And then the other one is minus 3, so it's minus 3 squared plus 4 times minus 3 plus 3 equals 0. Minus 3 squared is 9. This is minus 12 plus 3 equals 0. And 9 minus 12 is minus 3 plus 3 equals 0, which is true. Yeah. So that is the first one. And the second one, sorry, I'm just going to copy and bring it across here so that I can see it. Okay. So the second one, same thing. Part A. This time it's B's. My B's look like 6's, so I'm going to use a capital B. Minus 7B minus 8. So it's a trinomial, so we go guide. First by last, the first is missing, so it's a 1. So first by last gives you minus 8. Ignore the minus for now and just do your factors of 8, which is 1 times 8 and 2 times 4. We are looking for minus 7 out of these. So I can't get it out of the 2 and the 4 because if I add those, I get 6, and if I subtract them, I get 2. So it's not going to be them. But this will work. I'll be able to get 7 with an 8 and a 1. Okay, now just to note though, it's a minus 7, so I'll need a plus 1 and a minus 8 because plus 1 minus 8 makes minus 7. Okay, now you rewrite. So the b squared, this green part is going to become this thing over here. So it becomes plus 1. Now don't forget the b. So plus 1b minus 8b and then minus 8 at the end. Split it up into your two, I think I keep changing colours, but anyway, into your two groups, the red group and the green group. Common factor in the red group is b. Open up my bracket and I'm going to divide by the common factor. Sorry. I'll get that in a minute. So b squared divided by b, that's just b. So this one will cancel. There's 2 here. So it'll take one of them out, leaving 1 behind. And then here, the b's cancel, leaving me with the 1. Over here, the common factor is going to be minus 8. And then I will divide by that minus 8 here and here. So open my bracket. So the minuses become a plus, and then the 8's cancel, and you're just left with b. The minuses become a plus, and 8 divided by 8 is 1. Next, you have to check, do your brackets match? And they do. So I write down my b plus 1. And then I have to write down the factors in another bracket. So b minus 8. Okay, part B is where we solve. So actually I might do that. No, I won't. I'll take it up here. I don't want to use space for the next set of homework. So b plus 1 and b plus 8. Split my page. There you go. So b plus 1 equals 0 and b plus 8 equals 0. So we minus the 1's cancel out, minus the 1 for balance. So b equals minus 1. And then on the far side, we minus the 8 for cancelling and minus the 8 for balancing. So b equals minus 8. Last step then is to verify. So I take the original, so b squared minus 7b minus 8. B squared minus 7b minus 8. And I'm going to put my two answers in. So minus 1 squared minus 7 times minus 1 minus 8. So this is 1. These two minuses make a plus, so that's plus 7 and minus 8. So 8 minus 8, and we're trying to prove that it equals 0. And 8 minus 8 does equal 0, so that one's verified. And then the other one is minus 8 squared minus 7 times minus 8 equals 0. Minus 8 squared is plus 64. The two minuses make a plus, and that's 56. And then minus 8. Now, that one does not seem to verify. Just let me check I didn't do anything stupid again like I did the other day. So b squared minus 7b minus 8. That seems right. B squared plus, took out the minus 8, which seems fine. Oh, I totally did do something stupid. So my two answers down here were b plus 1 and b minus 8. Hang on. I'll blame the phone call, not my stupidity. So we let b minus 8 equals 0, and then we plus the 8 for cancelling and plus the 8 for balancing. So b equals 8, not minus 8. So let's put in the 8 and see what difference that makes. Okay, so put the 8 in. So I get 8 squared is still 64, but now I have a minus and a plus, which is a minus, and then minus 8 equals 0. This is 64 minus, actually I'll do that bit first. So 64 minus 56 is 8, minus the other 8 equals 0, and that is true. Whew. Okay, so that is your homework. Please, please, please go through that, pause it. Like, it's the same thing over and over and over again. You just have to get the, you just have to get the hang of it. Okay? Right, so we will go back into the chapter. So that was that homework there. There's a couple of others I didn't give you if you need more to practice, and then we'll obviously be doing the higher level ones as well. But the last thing in this ordinary level chapter is solving word quadratic equations. Okay, so it's where they give you the questions. They're still quadratic equations, so they're still going to either be your highest common factor, your difference two squares, or your trinomials. It's just they're written in words that you then have to decipher, essentially. Okay, so let's have a look. The width of a rectangular floor is x meters. The length of the floor is 3 meters longer than its width. Okay, so let's make a little rectangle. Did I get that now? No. No. Okay, so here is my rectangular floor. It says that the width is x meters. And then it says the length of the floor is 3 meters longer than its width. So that means the length of the floor is going to be the width plus 3 meters. Yeah? So this is my width and this is my length. So part A says, write an expression in x to the length of the floor. Done. X plus 3 meters. Part B, show that the area of the floor can be written as, and they give us an area. Okay, so how do we get the area of a rectangle? The area of a rectangle is length times width, which is, so the length is x plus 3, and the width is x. Okay, so we're going to need to multiply this. So you know when there's something outside the bracket, you just multiply it, like that x gets multiplied by that x, and that x gets multiplied by that 3. So you have x by x, which is x squared, and x by 3, which is 3x. And that is what is here. X squared plus 3x. Okay, next. Oh, no. C. Write an equation in x given that the area of the floor is 54 meters squared. Okay, so now they want us to write an equation, which means we'll need to equate one thing to another. So we know that the area of the floor is x squared plus 3x, and they're now telling us that the area of the floor is 54. So if we say x squared plus 3x must be equal to 54. And that is an equation for the area of the floor. And the last thing they want to do then is find the length and the width of the floor. So the only way to do that is to solve this equation. So I might move over. So we take x squared plus 3x equals 54. And what we want to do is we want to solve it. Now remember, in all the questions where we were solving, it was always the equation and then it had to equal 0. Okay, and if you look at this one, that is not 0. Okay, so you can solve them when they don't have an equal 0. But that's fine because we know how to move 54. We just minus 54 to cancel and minus 54 for balance. Now, look here. So I have an x squared, I have an x, and now I have this 54. None of them can be added together, so I just leave it separate. So x squared plus 3x minus 54, and now 54 minus 54 is 0. Now I can solve it. Okay, so I said it's going to be one of these three up here. And which one is it? It's got 3 terms, so yeah, it's going to be a trinomial. So we start with the guide number, so we need to multiply this number in front of x squared by the number at the end. The missing number there is a 1. So the guide number is minus 54. Ignore the minus and do your factors. So 1 times 54. There we go. 2 times 27. And 3 times 18. 4 doesn't work, 5 doesn't work, 6, does 6 work? It does, 6 times 9. 54 divided by 7 doesn't work, 54 divided by 8 doesn't work, and then 9 brings you back to this one here at the bottom. So we're done. Okay, so what are we looking for? We are looking for a plus 3. So which one of those is going to give me a 3? I think the last one's the only one that's going to give me a 3. I'm looking for a plus 3, which means I'll need a minus 6 and a plus 9. Yeah? So I have 1x squared, split this up, minus 6x plus 9x minus 54 equals 0. Pair them up, so I've got my first group and my second group. Common in that first group is x, open my bracket and divide by my common factor. So the one, like I said, write it or don't write it. X squared divided by x is x. Here the x's will cancel and I'm left with minus 6. Here common factor is 9 and open my bracket and divide by the common factor. Okay, it's a plus 9, so we'll just acknowledge that. So here the 9's cancel and I'm left with x. Here the signs are different, which means I get a minus, and 54 divided by 9 is 6. Do the brackets match? Yes, they do. So I get x minus 6. And then the other bracket is made up of these bits. So that is x plus 9. And then we have to solve. So we split our page. There you go. Oh my God. Insert straight line here. Okay. So we split our page. X minus 6 equals 0 and x plus 9 equals 0. This needs a plus 6 and a plus 6. So x equals 6. And this needs a minus 9 and a minus 9. So x equals minus 9. Okay, so our two answers that we're after getting are 6 and minus 9. So if I go back to the original thing here. We were told that the width of the floor was x meters. So we now know that the width of the floor was either 6 meters or minus 9 meters. Now, you can't have a floor with a negative length. That doesn't make sense, okay? So this answer, you would go back over here and you would reject it because it doesn't make sense in the context of this question. So that means the width of the floor is 6 meters and the length of the floor, which was 3 longer, is 9 meters. And that's part D. Okay, so it's just a quadratic equation. It's just that it takes you longer to get there because you have to sort of develop the equation yourself. We'll try this one. I don't know if I'm going to need to. I'm going to see, can we get rid of that now in a sec? So let x be a natural number. Another natural number is 2 less than this number. Okay, so the first number is x, and the second number is 2 less than that. So when we're going less, we're doing minus. The previous one, it was like the width and then the length was 3 meters more than, so we did adding. Here it's less, so we subtract. So write an expression in terms of x for the smaller number. So that's that. Okay, this number is bigger and this number is 2 smaller. So the answer to the first part is x minus 2. These two numbers are multiplied. Okay. Write an expression for the product. So product is a fancy word for multiply. Okay, so what they want us to do is multiply. So we have the bigger number, which is x, and the smaller number, which is x minus 2. And we do the same thing that we did in the last question, where we take the x and we multiply it by both bits of the bracket. So that's x squared minus 2x. Part C, same thing again. It says the product of these two numbers, so the product again is another word for multiply, is 24. So here's the product, and the answer is 24. So we take the product and we let it equal 24. So use your answers from part A and B to write an equation to show this. Just did it. And part C says use this equation to find x. So solve. Okay, use the equation means solve. So solve x squared minus 2x equals 24. Again, you can't solve unless you have an equals 0, which we don't. So you're going to have to get rid of that with a minus 24 and then a minus 24 on the other side for balance. So we get x squared minus 2x minus 24 equals 0. Okay, so we go guide. Okay, same thing as we've done before, the number in front of x squared, which is missing, and it's a 1, and multiply it by the last number, which is a minus 24. So that gives you minus 24. Ignore the minus and do your factors. 1 by 24, 2 by 12, 3 eighths are 24. 4 doesn't go in. Oh yes, it does. So 24 divided by 4 is 6, so 4 sixes are 24. 5 doesn't go in, and we're done. Okay, so what are we trying to get? We are trying to get a minus 2. So I think this one is the only one that has any hope of giving you a 2. We need a minus, so this is going to have to be a plus 4 and a minus 6. Rewrite, so x squared, split this up, plus 4, don't forget your x, minus 6x, and then your minus 24 at the end. Pair them up. So there's the first two, and there's the second two. So common factor is x, open up your bracket, and we're going to divide by x, divide by x. So x squared divided by x is x. The x's cancel in the second one, leaving you a plus 4. In the red bracket, the common factor is minus 6. Open up your bracket, and we're going to divide here by minus 6 and here by minus 6. Okay, so the two minuses make a plus and the two 6's cancel, leaving you with just x. The two minuses make a plus, and 24 divided by 6 is 4. Do the brackets match? They do, so we write them down. X plus 4, and then we write the factors x minus 6. Okay, so solve x plus 4 and x minus 6. Split the page. So we get x plus 4 equals 0, x minus 6 equals 0. This needs to be minus 4 and minus 4, so x equals minus 4. And then this one needs to be plus 6 and plus 6, so x equals 6. Okay, so there are the two answers. So I'll just take them. So minus 4 and plus 6 are what I'm after getting. So x is minus 4 or x equals 6. So look at the very first line. It says x is a natural number. Okay, only one of these is a natural number. The 6. Okay, so we would need to go back and reject the negative one as it's not natural. Okay, so what was the question? Use this to find x. So we did. X is 6. Okay, so like I said, no massively new skills there. It's just about reading the words and then relating them to the different questions. Okay, so for homework, we'll try 2 of them. Will we just go with the first 2? Let's just go with the first 2. So question 1 and 2 for homework, and that's due for Monday. So let me know if there's any questions. You can put it into just, if there's any questions at all, please do let me know. And we're going to have a live lesson on Wednesday. So if you want to save them up until then, that's fine too. I don't mind. Yeah, a lot of people have been asking me questions in their homework notebooks, in their OneNotes, and that's fine too, and I can answer it in there. So whatever you think. But if you have questions, please get them to me. All right, so those 2 questions for homework. Have a good weekend.